Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Hian, and this is George, my lab mate. Today we're gonna talk about spatial crowdsourcing. Anyone heard about spatial crowdsourcing? I'm sure you may heard about crowdsourcing application like Amazon Mechanical Turk, where you have a bundle of tasks that could be difficult for the computer to solve. So you would give those tasks to people and pay them some money, and they can do the task for you, by the way. So spatial crowdsourcing is similar to crowdsourcing, except the worker are required to physically travel to the task location in order to perform it. For example, you go to a specific place to take a picture or capturing a video. So why suddenly spatial crowdsourcing become so popular? The reason is nowadays smartphone is so popular, and there are many sensors within the phone like Wi-Fi, GPS, and camera. With those, we can take video and upload to the server at any time and anywhere. And also, with the support of higher improvement in the network bandwidth, nowadays those three really enable us to develop application like, for example, I have a bunch of applications show here. So for example, with Waze you can report traffic on the way. With OpenSignal, we can gather temperature information. Those three apps are from Qualcomm, by the way. We actually built a system, a real system. It named MediaQ. Let me show you a demonstration of the system.
USC's Integrated Media Systems Center introduces MediaQ, a novel online mobile media management system. Users can use MediaQ to collect, archive, share, and search user-generated videos from mobile devices, such as Android, iPhone, and Google Glass. MediaQ supports spatial crowdsourcing to collect videos in an on-demand manner. First, a requester can generate a task on MediaQ Web by describing the task, location, time, and reward. Then the request will be delivered to mobile users who are around the location of video collection.
This is George, by the way.
Once tasks are created, MediaQ maintains them in 3 categories: active, completed, and expired. The location of the task, the location of the collected video,
Right.
and the user who recorded it with the recording time are displayed to check the status of the crowdsourcing task. MediaQ is the next generation of mobile media management systems.
So we actually use MediaQ for journalism purpose. In 2013, a lot of journalism students from Chicago use our system to help PBS cover the presidential inauguration events. So one of the key components in MediaQ is how we can assign a set of tasks to a set of workers that maximize the number of assigned tasks. So let me give you an example. We have a bunch of tasks already posted right here from the requester. Next, the worker gonna send his location together with 2 constraints to tell the server that they are willing to work. The first constraint is an area which defines the region where he's willing to travel. The second one is the maximum number of tasks that he can perform. So given that task and worker and on those constraints, the optimization goal the server trying to perform is to maximize the number of assigned tasks to the workers. And as we show in our paper, it turned out this optimization problem can be reducible to Mach-flow problem, in which algorithm, for example, focusing can be used to solve it optimally. By the way, this is just one-time snapshot where we all know the location of task and worker. However, there are challenges when we try to apply this technique in real time and online scenario. And now George is going to talk about it.
Yeah, so we have the MediaQ system, which is really cool, but there are a number of challenges with this system. So, and the first one is the dynamic nature of workers and tasks. So because workers may sign in or sign off our system and tasks may get expired or when new tasks are getting posted, this is done without future knowledge. So if we want to have a better solution, we need to know the future. The second challenge is the location privacy, because right now we store our workers' location in our database, and if someone gets access to this database, they can infer sensitive details about the workers. For For example, they can infer that someone may suffer from cancer if he's regularly visiting a cancer center. Lastly is the issue of trust. So right now we trust each worker equally, and we may have malicious users, and there is no way right now to filter them out. So we are going to talk about each of these challenges in turns and try to explain them. And Ian now is going to talk about the dynamic task assignment first.
Right. So, in real world spatial crowdsourcing apps, we don't know the future task and worker that coming to our system, and so global task assignment is not possible. So therefore, we propose two techniques to overcome the challenge of not knowing the future. The first technique is based on the distribution of the workers. So, for example, what if we have a task that posted in some dense area like USC? We know that in the future there's likely to be some other worker that visiting that area to perform the task. So we would have a higher priority for the task that in the other area that don't have many workers. Or maybe we want to assign the task to the nearby workers so that the worker don't need to travel a long distance as this guy. The next technique we propose is based on the idea of learning from the past. So 2013 paper showed that in a real spatial crowdsourcing system, the number of online workers over time shape a patterns, and we can observe that from noon to 4 p.m. the number of online workers increased significantly over time. And so if there are workers that arrive within that period of time, they are likely to be performed in the future by some by some worker. So by learning that patterns, we improve the task assignment algorithm significantly, and submit a paper to VRB 15. Hopefully it's going to be accepted. And now I'm going to talk about the next challenge, which is how we can assign tasks to the worker without knowing the location of the worker. And by the way, for all the tasks, we also want that they can be performed by some worker with high probability. So the first shortcut approach would be, for every task, we can assign that one to own the worker in our system. There's certainly no privacy issue at all with this approach. However, the solution is not scalable. So we propose a technique which based on the idea that if somehow we can find nearby worker without knowing their location, we would be fine. So this is the universe that are partitioned into grid, and what we know is not the actual location, but some sort of like within this cell there are 5 workers with some probability. And it turned out, given that, the problem of assigning tasks to the worker privately become finding an area surrounding the task so that it covers enough worker, and then when we assign that task to those workers, it can be performed with high probability. And it turned out differential privacy, which is a state-of-the-art privacy technique, help us to construct such data grid. And we, by the way, to best our knowledge, this is the first study addressed the privacy issue in spatial crowdsourcing. And now Josh is going to take over with the trust issue.
So the last challenge is the trustfulness of our workers. So some people say don't trust anyone, including my mom. But in our case, we want to have a way to have the trustfulness of workers that can differentiate from others. So we can for sure use solutions that e-commerce systems use, like Amazon and eBay. For example, the rating and the number of completed transactions. But we are more interested in using the spatial factor of spatial crowdsourcing. So, for example, we can use the distance travel, and here we have an example to demonstrate that. So let's say that we have 2 workers and 2 tasks, each worth $3 if completed. So worker 1 is willing to travel 3 miles to perform the task, and worker 2 is willing to travel 1 mile to do that task. So given this information only, if we have a new task within 2-mile radius, then worker 1 is more probable to travel to this location. Another trust function that we want to include in the trust metric is the spatial coverage. So let's say that we have a video task that someone needs to go there and take a video with his smartphone. We can use the metadata of that video and build the field of view, this blue area that you see there, and actually calculate the amount of the time that was actually on this task with the total length of the video. So after we calculate the trust value for each worker, we want to use that. The way we want to use that is when we do the task assignment, we want to use more trustful workers in order to maximize the quality of the result. And also we want to use it when new tasks are going to be posted by requesters, so we can guide them to areas that are more trustful than some other areas. The way we want to start with this is build a framework in like this one, and this is our execution plan. So we have been investigating different spatial crowdsourcing applications like Uber, TaskRabbit, and Waze, but we also built some of our own like MediaQ and iRain, and we figured out that all of these spatial crowdsourcing applications have something in common. Like some of the components here, the underlying data storage, the task management, user management, task assignments, etc. So our main focus is on these two modules, the trust and privacy module, and we want to decompose it in that way. So if we turn on or off some of these optional modules, nothing else needs to be changed. And if we have this generic spatial crowdsourcing architecture, then people can use it to build their own apps. Now the question is how we want to evaluate our algorithms. So the first way that we can use is collecting real data workload from Koala, Yelp, and Foursquare, which include location and timestamps. And also we can use our own spatial crowdsourcing generator that can create synthetic data. So after we do that, we want to enhance the existing system and release our MediaQ system to the local community and collect real spatial crowdsourcing data. And at the end, we want to release our project as an open source, and people can use it to build their own apps and give us feedback when they build actual applications. We believe that because of the amount of smartphones nowadays, we are going to see more and more increase in spatial crowdsourcing applications, and our framework will ease this development. Concluding, so this is our team. Me and Ian, we have been working in the spatial crowdsourcing area since 2012, and actually our professor Cyrus Shahabi pioneered this area, and he is supervising an active research group in spatial crowdsourcing. So spatial crowdsourcing was coined by our advisor in 2012, and nowadays other groups are using it. So there is a new entry in Encyclopedia of Geography, and also Microsoft Research Group are using the spatial crowdsourcing. We are open to any questions, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you.